Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Blaise XPerience once again. You are joining us for another Wednesday episode. Today's episode is episode number 54, and today we are back to talk some more Sea of Thieves. That's right, we haven't talked Sea of Thieves in a little bit, but today we're back to talk about it again because they had a new DLC. They had a DLC called Shrouded Spoils, and we're going to talk all about that DLC. It's a DLC that has a lot of little things put together, but when you put all those things together, it's actually pretty cool DLC. So we're going to get into some of that. But before we do, as always, we have a couple of news items at the top of the show. So, of course, we're going to have our next State of Decay episode on Saturday, as always. And then today, when you're hearing this, this is the last day to register for Undead Trials. So, Undead Trials is basically an event that is a community event. It's for State of Decay community. And myself, K-Sizzle, and Mr. Dart, we all put this event together. And this is going to be a competition in the base game of State of Decay. So, essentially how it works is we're going to have as many entries as we can get. Right now we have about 50 entries. So, essentially right now we'd start with 50 players. We're going to take that 50 players and go down to one player. One player is going to be the grand prize winner. And the grand prize is going to be a State of Decay water bottle, a State of Decay 1 t-shirt, a State of Decay pin, a Undead Labs signed poster for the developers, and also a State of Decay Bronto gas jacket. And except for the State of Decay pin, the other 4 items are all items that you can only get through contest. So that's the only way you can get these items except for the pin. The pin you can find on like eBay and things, but obviously you're going to be paying more on eBay to get that, but you can find the pin other places. But those are some great prizes. I'm definitely excited to have this event, and basically the event's going to be done in rounds. We're going to have, 4 rounds, hopefully, depending how many people we get to sign up. And we're going to, throughout the week, just take people and eliminate them and end up with one person as a winner. And if you do participate, there is a small participation prize. There's going to be a drawing done for anyone that participates. You're going to be entered into a drawing to win a State of Decay t-shirt. So definitely enter, because even if you don't win, you could still possibly win that t-shirt. And it's a really great t-shirt. I have one myself. It's a really great t-shirt that everyone's going to love. So I'm really excited about this event, but look in the show notes. We're going to have the link there. I will mention it right here once. It's going to be http://bit.ly. So that's bit.ly/UT2REG. That's bit.ly/UT2REG. That is how you register for this. So I would definitely appreciate everyone registering, because today is the last day for registration. When you hear this, it's going to be on a Wednesday. This is the last day we're allowing registration, because the event actually happens December 9th to the 15th. So essentially, we're going to end registration today, and then I need a couple of days to work with the team and make the schedule, because we can't just take, 50 to 100 people and automatically have a schedule made. So we have to actually know how many entries we have first. So we're going to take that schedule and craft that schedule and perfect it by Saturday. So that's why registration is ending Wednesday. So definitely get your registration in. We'd love to have you involved in that, and there's going to be a lot of great little mini games streamed, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you want to find out more about that, just check the show notes. I'll have the Discord link for the Undead Trials Discord, and I'll have the registration link as well. So that being said, the only other news item I have is my next stream. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be. It's either going to be tonight when you're hearing this, or on Saturday night. It's going to be one of the 2 nights, and it's probably going to be previewing some of the Undead Trials challenges, because there's a couple challenges we haven't revealed yet. So I'm probably going to be revealing a couple of those challenges. That's probably what the stream's going to be. But definitely, if you're a State of Decay fan, definitely look forward to that and get into it. We'd be excited to have you, and it's going to be a great event. There's about 50 people already signed up, so you could be, 51 or more. We'd love to have you, and that being said, we're going to move on to some Sea of Thieves now. So we do have a guest here for Sea of Thieves with us today. We're going to talk about the Shrouded Spoils DLC. But back on the podcast once again, it's of course our most prolific guest here. We have Monty back. Welcome back, Monty.
Hello, yes, I am back. Again. Once again.
Your first episode since 45, so you missed 9 of them this time.
Hey, that's not as bad, right?
No, it's not as bad. I think it's been, about 3 to 4 weeks since you've been on, so it's not too horrible. It's better than last time, I think.
Yeah. And hey, it's only been 9 episodes. If I was here too often, people would get tired of me.
I think they already have. We bring you back anyway, so.
I don't blame them.
They're like, oh, this guy again. But hey, it's only every 9 episodes, guys. I mean, you can put up with Monty for 1 episode. You know, it's not that bad. 1 every 10.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll live.
But Monty was last on to talk about the Vigor update 0.6 with me, and if you haven't heard that episode yet, I would definitely recommend hearing it because it's probably the episode I've done out of the 54 that I was most critical. Monty can kind of attest to that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we were generous.
No, we were not generous. So, you know, if you want to hear us respectfully trash a game, then, you know, we do that in the episode. We're not like mean about it or anything, but we pretty much say that basically everything in that update is not good. That's basically what we say. So
something along those lines.
But if you want to hear more about that, definitely check out episode 45. But we're not here to talk about State of Decay. We're not here to talk about Vigor. We're here to talk about some Sea of Thieves. So,
we are,
you know, how have you been enjoying this DLC so far?
Well, I think DLC is a strong word for it. I think update. It's a really big update. And everything that's included in the update is amazing. Like, I really enjoy everything they've added. I'm just not sure if DLC is the word for it, but it's good.
I mean, I agree with you in some sense. I think you technically have to call it a DLC just because they put a name to it, you know, Shrouded spoils, and this was the update that was coming, but I think they've classified it as a content update when they talk about it, because I think they're worried about calling it a DLC just because they don't want to have people like, oh, this isn't a DLC. You know, they don't want to have that kind of thing. So
yeah, I get that. But I like everything it's brought, honestly. I think that it's really added a lot to the game. The game's a lot more interesting. It's not as boring now. Even the atmosphere, just the feel of the game is a lot nicer, which is hard because that was already one of the best parts of the game anyway.
Yeah, and the game is harder now and is a lot more exciting too, because we can talk about our story real quick, you know, to start off with that. When we first jumped into the game, we had a goal. Okay, we're going to sail to this outpost. You know, we're going to check out some of the new cosmetics there. And then we're like, oh, there's a skeleton port too. Maybe we can do that instead. And you saw this gem in the water. You wanted this gem. So I'm like, all right, we can get that gem. And we stopped for that gem. And what happened, Monty?
Well, quickly touching on the gems, because that's one of the things that's been added. One of the mermaid gems. So,
yes.
So what these are is essentially around islands and underwater. It's around islands underwater, that is. You can find statues of mermaids. And essentially what you do is you destroy them, like chop them up with your sword bunch, and they drop a gem. Now, if you're in proximity to them, they do damage to you, so you do want to bring bananas and stuff. But once you destroy it, you get a gem. Now, I've been playing a bit alone, and I'd found one of these statues, but it despawned before I managed to get the gem. So I saw the second one with Derreck. I was like, right, we're gonna get this gem. I have no idea how much they're worth. I want to know. And as we start to get the gem, I see a skeleton pirate ship coming around the corner. So we quickly try and get the gem, which we succeed in. And as we start heading back to the ship, the pirate ship starts firing at us. So we get onto our ship with the gem, and we start booking it away from there. But then we're chased by the skeleton ship, and after a large amount of running away, suddenly the Kraken shows up.
I think you got to back up for a second too. So I mean,
have I missed something?
Well, you're missing kind of some of the context of this too, because first of all, with this whole gem situation, you know, you were trying to have me come back to you with the ship, and I was like clueless with that. I couldn't find out where the hell you're talking about. I'm like, you're like, go to the island we were just at. I'm like, what island is that? I'm like, well, where am I going?
So in 360 degrees, there was all of one island near Derreck. He just could not figure out which of those single islands he had to go to come and get the gem.
Hey, I'm going to blame it on I worked all night last night, so I'm going to blame it on that.
Sure.
But yes, it took me a while to find Monty, first of all. But once I found him, we got that gem. And then the next context that Monty left out is that these skeleton ships, Monty was saying, like, oh, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. The skeleton ship's coming. I'm like, oh, well, I read that, some of them are passive sometimes. And some of them, they don't attack you unless you attack them first. I'm like, we'll be fine. We can just stay here. And then, as Monty kind of started to get into it, we weren't fine. They were the aggressive ones.
It was very much aggressive. And it started chasing us. And by this point, we'd run out of planks. And then the Kraken beset us.
I had two.
Well.
I had two left.
Oh, sorry, we had two.
Yes.
And then the Kraken showed up. So not only were we being chased and attacked by a pirate ghost ship, we were also being attacked by the Kraken. So we couldn't run away, we couldn't move, and yeah, there wasn't really much we could do. So at that point, I decided it's time to abandon ship. So
Yes.
I quickly detached the rowboat, and we both jump onto there with the gem, with the single goal in mind of saving the gem.
That was our goal in life.
Yeah.
And my task was to protect the gem, and your task was to steal us out of there.
So we start rowing away in our rowboat when I get sucked up and killed by the Kraken, leaving Derreck alone on the rowboat with the gem.
But you did forget, though, that the Kraken at least helped out. I mean, they sunk our ship. They at least killed the skeleton ship for us, too. So then we only had the Kraken to deal with. So
I think that just left.
Maybe, I don't know.
By going underwater. I think so. That's what it does. So
I'm going to say the Kraken helped us. I'm going to pretend the Kraken helped us. It makes me feel better about the situation.
Well, we'll say that the Kraken helped us and the ghost ship left. And so we're there in this rowboat, and I get sucked up and die. And I respawn on our new ship entirely across the map. Now,
yes.
Derreck manages to survive, and the Kraken leaves.
I'm good like that,
Alright, yeah, so I end up all the way across the map in our ship, and Derreck manages to get away from the Kraken, alone in the middle of the sea, in the rowboat with the gem. So
I remember at one point too. Well, at one point, when the Kraken was still there, I was like, "Help! Help! The Kraken's right next to me!" And the Kraken was like, just the tentacle was so close to my little rowboat, and I'm like, "Oh crap! This is not good." Like, all I have is like a pistol with like 4 bullets left in it, and I have this gem here. I'm not going anywhere because the water was all black and it was harder to row out of that area, it seemed like. So yeah. I'm like, oh, this is not good. But for some reason, the Kraken's like, I'm going to kind of take pity on this guy. I mean, he seems like he sucks at the game, so I'm just going to kind of leave him alone.
So I end up attempting to sail the entirety across the map just to come and save you. En route which there's a storm in the way, so I then have to get around that as well. And you start rowing to the nearest island, and then you get to that island, you're shot off the rowboat by a blunderbuss from a skeleton.
Yes.
I still maintain you shouldn't have been that close in the first place.
I'll say it could have been a pistol. I'm not sure if it was a blunderbuss or a pistol. I was shot off by one of the two.
Nonetheless, you end up being chased around by skeletons. So you run off the island into the water, where you then end up being chased by sharks.
Yeah.
And then you run back onto the island, get chased by skeletons again, and die.
But before I died, I made sure I dropped the gem inside the rowboat, so it was safely tucked in there.
So, with the gem safely tucked in the rowboat, I continue the voyage to the island.
I think it was Paradise Bay.
Come and save him.
Paradise Bay, I
Something
believe
like
it was.
that, yeah.
It's like a really tiny island.
And we finally get there, and we launch a rescue strike force to go and save the gem. Now, I launch myself over, and there's an explosive barrel skeleton. So I lead him away, and I sacrifice myself once again to save the gem. And
That's the story you're telling anyways.
yes. And then, well, no, that's fact. And then
Hey, we don't know your motives. You know, everyone at home doesn't know your motives. So
I screamed out, "I'll sacrifice myself for you," before I died. It's a pretty clear motive.
You could have just been pretending that. I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do. You know.
I suppose.
I mean, you could have wanted to talk to the fairy captain. Maybe you and him had a bet going on. You had to collect your bet. So I don't know what's going on.
I was betting as to whether you died with the gem or not.
Oh, thanks.
I won.
Hey, I did not die with the gem. I brought the gem back to the ship. Thank you.
Eventually. But yes, Derreck got the gem back to the ship. So after a whole lot of effort, we managed to get one of these mermaid gems.
Yeah.
And I will tell you now, before we get spammed with questions, no, it was not worth it. I think we got 1,000 from it.
1,000 bones, yep.
And along the way, we'd also found an Ashen Captain's chest, which got us 1,490 odd. You know, almost 1,500.
Yeah, and there's something funny about that chest, too. You want to tell the story about the chest? What happened with that?
I think you can tell this one. You're the one that messed that up.
Hey, I didn't mess it up. So, Monty had like this goblet or something like that he found, and somehow it dropped, and he was going to get that. So he was going to get that because it dropped in the water. And then when he was doing that, I took the chest and I went and hid on the side of the ladder of the ship. And he thought the chest despawned or something. He's like, no, where's the chest? And he had no idea where the chest was. And then he's looking for me. He's like, wait, where are you? So then he figured out my prank. And then, I went back on the ship. I went to place the chest down by the voyage table. So I just literally hit B to drop it. And the chest actually spawns right through the ship into the water. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And we're already moving at this point. So at that point, Monty has to stop the ship and then take the rowboat and go back and get the chest. So, like, that was not like on purpose or anything, but it just kind of fit with this whole journey for us. This whole journey of ours was like just a comedy of errors. Yeah. This entire like journey we played through was just a comedy of errors. That's how you describe it.
But needless to say, the new update with having more of these events happen and stuff was very fun.
Absolutely.
I definitely enjoyed it a lot more. There was so much more happening.
We only gained 2,400 gold, and yet I had more fun in Sea of Thieves in this voyage than I've had in like a long time. And that kind of goes to show you, like, we played horrible. We absolutely played horrible, but I had so much fun doing it.
Yeah. So I think whilst they were only a lot of smaller updates, they were good updates. They were high in quality, and it's brought a lot more to the game, and it's made it a lot more interesting.
Absolutely. But, kind of the story we were alluding to there, a couple of the things that you kind of pick out of that are, one, the skeleton ships. Those can actually attack you now. They're not something where you have to go find them. They're actually in the world by themselves now, and they can spawn up at any point. And they can either be a passive skeleton ship where they don't attack you unless you attack them, or they can be an aggressive one. We found an aggressive one. But these ships can attack you on any ship size because we were on a sloop when we got attacked. So even if you're on a sloop, you can get attacked. If you're on a brig, if you're on a galleon, you can get attacked no matter what. And in addition to that, the Kraken, as I said, we were in a sloop. The Kraken now attacks sloops as well. So, definitely be careful with that. I did hear that the Kraken is a little bit easier to beat in a sloop, so they made the difficulty a little bit easier for a sloop to beat it. But, I mean, it's still, difficult enough with just two people on a sloop, I would say. But
and being chased by a skeleton ship.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we were getting fired on by a skeleton ship while the Kraken was, wrapping with his tentacles, and we're like, yeah, let's just get out of here. I'm done. Thankfully, we had a rowboat, though. That's one lesson that everyone listening to this should take home with you. Definitely have a rowboat. Like, that was a nice escape plan. So.
Yeah, no, it was a long one, but we made it. At the end of the day, we got the mermaid gem.
Exactly. We got our 1,000 gold.
We succeeded. So the rowboats with more encounters with this expansion, rowboats are always nice. Just because you have that
And
backup.
honestly, I almost challenge people to, like, if there's somebody out there listening to this, I almost challenge you to, like, tell me a story where you spent more time and more effort just for 1,000 gold in one item. Like, we use up so much time in that journey just to get that one gem. We're like, we have to get this one gem. This gem is our life.
Yeah, so
but it was fun though.
Yeah, so there's a lot more of these boss fights. There's these mermaid gems now. And
with the fights too, we should say that if you kill the Kraken, then you actually get rewards for it now. Same with the Megalodon, you can still get rewards. So the skeleton ships, you always got rewards for those, but basically, the Kraken and the Megalodon now, you actually get rewards for those. So that is very nice, and we didn't actually come across any Megalodons, but I will mention quickly that there's 6 new types now, and I heard one of those types is actually a ghost Megalodon, which is like a very, very rare one that's hard to see. So that'd be kind of cool to run into that, but we didn't run into Megalodons. So that's like the only, not bad thing that happened to us. Pretty much everything bad that could happen happened besides running into Megalodon.
Yeah, but as I was just starting to touch on a bit there, fog. That's also been added.
Yeah, I barely got to touch the surface of this. You can talk about it a little more, but I saw some light fog, but I want to see some like really heavy fog. Unfortunately, the time I've had to play so far, it hasn't occurred for me, but I'm sure it's, pretty common. Just I didn't have time for a long play session, so I'm sure if I play for like 5 hours, I probably definitely see it.
Well, when I first started playing with this expansion, I first spawned in and there was a storm and heavy fog. And it was so atmospheric. It was really nice. Sort of the fog is really, really nice for the game. It makes it look very pretty, which is saying something. As I said, it's already a very pretty game. The graphics are really cool, and it just adds an extra element. My one complaint with the fog is ships. So for those of you that have played it for a while, you know that ships used to sort of on the horizon look like a black dot, and you could very obviously see them. That's less of a problem now normally, but that happens again with the fog. So you can very clearly see ships on the horizon in the fog, which it can kind of be like, oh, this all looks very pretty. Oh, and there's a black dot. Obviously it's very useful if you're looking for ships, or if you want to stay away from them. But it just sort of like stands out a bit.
Yeah, I think that could be a problem they have to investigate too, because as I was talking with you when you were explaining it to me when we were playing, I mean, if you're going into the fog, you might be doing that because somebody's chasing you. So you might be going into the fog to hide from somebody. So if that doesn't work, then that kind of defeats the purpose a little bit, because the fog, in my opinion, should work a little bit like the storm in the sense that if you're being chased by somebody and you want to escape, it should be a valid tactic to go into the fog to kind of throw them off a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's no way near as heavy as the storm, but it definitely restricts your vision a lot.
Yeah, because that's a tactic I would want to try, but if you're saying that it's really easy to see ships still, then that kind of stinks, but is what it is. Maybe they'll fix it.
Hopefully.
But in your other playthroughs, obviously with the one we didn't see any, but did you see any other Megalodons?
I didn't know. I haven't. See, it was weird. In my first playthrough, I didn't have any of the encounters. And then in R1, we got non-stop encounter. I mean, I saw a skeleton ship, but I didn't engage with it or anything.
See, that was a passive one. We had the aggressive one.
Well, I think it was coming for me. I just sailed away very quickly.
Oh, kind of like what you suggested we do, but I didn't listen to you?
Just like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, see, I was the smart one here, and I'm like, nah, it's fine. They're not going to attack us. Let's just get this gem, and get back to the ship. And then we get back to the ship, and our ship's already being fired on.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was fun, though.
So I haven't come across any Megalodons yet. I look forward to, though.
Yeah, I mean, some of the new ones that they have, apparently, are the Ancient Terror, the Shadow Maw, the Crested Queen, and the extremely rare Shrouded Ghost. That's the one I was talking about a little bit. I haven't met anyone that's found the Shrouded Ghost yet, but I guess the Shrouded Ghost probably has like a ghostly glow to it, and it's very hard to find, I guess. So that'd be interesting to find that. And I know the Megalodons before this update, some of them would kind of be like the skeleton ships, and they'd be, some were aggressive, some weren't aggressive. So I'm assuming that all 6 of these have the same thing, where some of them are aggressive, some aren't. But I haven't met enough of them yet, so maybe it could be where like, oh, the Shadow Maw is always aggressive, or oh, the Ancient Terror is always passive. They might have set it up like that, where certain types are certain ways, but I would assume that all the types have all the types of aggression.
Yeah, I'll assume so. But I think that's everything with the encounters. Except for forts. We haven't spoken about forts yet.
Yeah, so with forts, we're actually trying to go to a fort when all this happened to us, because I wanted to see, especially, there's this new gunpowder keg, and I don't know if you heard too much about this, but it's like a really powerful gunpowder keg. It's supposed to be like a super boom kind of thing, and basically it's so powerful that I can pretty much take down a ship in like one explosion.
Yeah, so when you're loading in, you can see photos of it. It's sort of like wrapped around with horns, from what I gather. So again, forts seem to happen more often. There's pretty much always a fort up, which is nice. There's always something to do if you like to do combat. Pretty much at one point, anywhere in the world, there will be at least a fort or a skeleton ship. There's 6 more ones as well, 6 new forts, which is nice. As there's going to be more often, it could get more boring if you're just going the same ones over and over. So it's cool that there's 6 more, because it's more variety that you can have.
Yes, and when you say 6 new ones too, it's worth noting that these 6 new ones, they were already in the game before. Just these are all the forts that used to be dead. You drive by the fort and you pick up some extra explosive barrels there. These forts were all inactive. Now they've been activated. So basically, the way that before this update was happening was there's only like 3 forts that were always active. It's always okay. This fort, this fort, this fort. Now all 6 that weren't active are now active as well. So now there's like 9 forts active. So basically, from what I heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but from what I heard, every 10 to 15 minutes in game, there should be a fort popping up.
Yeah, so, given how long a fort takes, there pretty much always be one.
Yeah, and what the cool thing about these other forts, too, is these other forts have different layouts, so it's not going to be the same layout you're used to. Some of these forts have layouts where, like, it's really hard to dock a ship there because there's always, like, rocks around and there's only, like, one way to get in. Some of the ships, I'll give a shout out to Captain Logan on the Keel Hall podcast. He podcasts about Sea of Thieves weekly. And I know in his podcast, when he was talking about it, he was saying that one of the forts they went to, I think it was Old Boot Fort, they had like 7 cannons firing on them at once. And that's kind of crazy. So these forts seem like they prevent new challenges.
But another thing you can get from forts is bone dust crates, which is another new thing that's been added. And this can be exchanged with Merchant Alliance. So I'm guessing that this is similar to how the old crates of bananas and stuff used to be, except it comes fully stocked and stuff, so you just need to take it there, a bit like a chest. But I know through turning this in, you can get commendations, which gives you more doubloons, obviously. Speaking of doubloons, at the moment, there is time-limited cosmetics for your ship. They're all themed around sort of fish sort of stuff. A ship called the Whaling Barnacle. So that's new sails, hull, figurehead, flags. But also, with another new thing with this update is cannons, wheels, and the wheel that you use to turn the anchor.
Capstone. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. So there's a bunch of new cosmetics to your ship now. Really cool ways of fully customizing your ship. And these time-limited items, they're really cool. They're bought with doubloons. So with there being new commendations, obviously there's more doubloons to get. So definitely get these if you can.
Yeah, and one thing I'll mention too is this ancient bone dust you mentioned. That is like the new item that's really good for Merchant Alliance, because when you did forts in the past, there's always the stronghold skull, the stronghold chest, but the Merchant Alliance didn't really have an item that like, oh, this is so good for the Merchant Alliance. So the bone dust is kind of supposed to serve that purpose, where like you'd open up a skeleton fort and be like, oh, I have this like crate of tea, like that was the best thing you have, Merchant Alliance, like that. So this ancient bone dust is supposed to kind of serve as the equivalent to a stronghold chest, basically. So I think that's really cool that they actually added it in there now.
Yeah.
So another thing we didn't actually mention yet, but I think is really cool and something that could go a long way to creating new friends and, you know, kind of sharing a moment together is they have a new feature where you can raise your tankard. And basically with this, when you drink grog, you can actually now raise your grog to fellow pirates and kind of, you know, celebrate together. So this is a cool way to celebrate, like, oh, we got a bunch of loot, or, you know, oh, we're just having fun together. Or like, if we would have thought about this when we were playing, we probably could have tried this out and be like, yeah, we had a, you know, nice comedy of errors adventure. Let's raise a tankard.
Or commemorate a sunken ship.
Yes. You could do one of your speeches at the end.
Yeah, as we're so often prone to.
No, but I think it's cool that they have that feature in there, Bia, because it kind of, you know, just makes things more friendly, and it kind of offers another opportunity to actually embrace your crew. So I like that.
Yeah. No, sort of, obviously it's a lot of little things, so there's like the little crew bits, the little boss bits. As to commendations, there's 17 new commendations, so gain more doubloons, easier to get these limited cosmetics. They're also all grouped now, so if you go into the Bilge Rat menu, there's things like the Halloween event, and they're grouped like by expansion and stuff. And for those of you that are Pirate Legend, if we have any Pirate Legends that listen, there's 20 new ones which Pirate Legends can do as well.
Which is awesome for them, because I know Pirate Legends, they were looking for more stuff to do, so that's awesome they actually have that for them now.
Yeah. Hopefully they're a bit harder as well. I mean, just because then that's maybe a bit more interesting for them. I don't know. I'm not a Pirate Legend.
Neither am I, and it's going to be a while before I am. So.
Oh, yeah. Maybe one day. But a bit more around Bilge Rats. There's more titles as well. So sort of you can seem fancier along with your new cosmetics.
Well, I don't think there's any chance of us seeming fancy, but maybe other people can seem fancy. So.
Maybe not.
Everyone else would look great, you know. We'll just be like, oh, it's those two buffoons. You know, what are they doing in the seas? Like, send them back to the, you know, little sailboat. Give them a little sailboat. You know, they can play in their bathtub with it.
We'll just be there on a rowboat.
Yes, apparently we can steer rowboats. That's like the one thing we can do, apparently. So if you need a rowboat captain, you know, call Monty or I, you know, we can captain that rowboat for you. We're experienced rowboat captains, so we can do that.
Call me. He's no good with a rowboat.
Hey, I was very good with the rowboat. I parked it just fine and everything.
Hey,
I got shot and killed, but I still parked the rowboat good.
If your sailing abilities and lack of the ability to find a single island that was right in front of you says anything about your rowboat abilities.
But that was with the big ship. With the rowboat, I did fine.
The sloop is not a big ship.
Compared to the rowboat, it is.
Not really. But yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking, you know, if anyone's hiring for rowboat captain, you know, I'll take minimum wage for it. So let's make this happen.
I suppose we could talk about the cosmetics a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to. So there's a lot of new cosmetics, and as you talked about, there's that Whaling Barnacle set, which I will mention that this Whaling Barnacle set, it's actually tied to the lore a little bit, and I'll credit again Captain Logan with this from Keel Hall Podcast. Definitely check out that podcast if you'd like to see Sea of Thieves, because he does the only Sea of Thieves podcast weekly, and he does a great job with it. I only talk about the DLCs now, so, you know, definitely come back to talk about the DLCs with me, but if you want to hear about it weekly, definitely check him out in Keel Hall Podcast. But I caught this from his podcast. Basically, this Whaling Barnacle set, this comes from the whole Stitcher Jim storyline that was in the...
Devil's Roar?
There you go, yep. This comes from Stitcher Jim from Devil's Roar. And basically, this is his ship that he used to actually captain. So that's very cool that you kind of get the stuff from his ship, and that's kind of where that set came from. So that's really cool, actually.
And you can get really cool fish cannons.
Yes, which you showed me, which are very cool.
I am very proud to say I am an owner of the fish cannons already. So,
but that kind of brings me to, some of the stuff I purchased too. I mean, the new things that you can purchase for any ship, you can purchase cannons, like you said, you can purchase the capstone, and you can purchase a wheel. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the ones I wanted yet because I like the Ocean Crawler set a lot. That's my favorite set, and I was trying to get, a lot of stuff for that set. But the stuff for the Ocean Crawler set, it's all locked behind combinations. And basically the combinations for that one in particular, they're to get more they're to get more mermaid gems. So I have to get a bunch more mermaid gems.
Not more.
Yeah, so I have to get more mermaid gems. And other ones are locked behind other things. Like, for example, the Admiral, that's locked behind the Merchant Alliance, I believe. The Sovereign set, I think, is locked behind the Order of Souls, if I remember right. And the Kraken set, that's locked behind other combinations. So basically, these items that are used to upgrade your wheel, capstone, or your cannons, those are all locked behind something, with the exception of the one that Monty bought, which is the Whaling Barnacle one. That one isn't technically locked behind something, but it costs doubloons to get. So the other ones cost gold. The ones that Monty got cost doubloons. So it's 40 doubloons for the cannons, the capstone, or the wheel for each of the Whaling Barnacle. And then for the other items, like say you wanted the Admiral capstone or something, that is going to cost you 40 grand in gold.
Yeah, but definitely get the doubloons one. As I said, it's limited time. It's not that hard to get 40 doubloons. So I'd definitely recommend getting as much of that as you can.
Definitely. And I plan to get more too. And I did buy some stuff though while we're there. I figured I'd kind of spend a lot of my money. I bought the Ocean Crawler hull, which I was always kind of stingy with my money, but today I kind of said screw it. I'm just gonna spend it because I really like this Ocean Crawler set. It's always been my favorite set. So I had my pirate dressed in Ocean Crawler gear already, but I decided to get the Ocean Crawler hull to kind of have that to show off my ship. And then I also bought a gun and a sword for her for the Ocean Crawler set too. So I kind of decked myself out in more Ocean Crawler stuff, and now I don't have much money anymore, but I kind of like the decision. I kind of have like this theme going on. It's a pretty cool theme, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of the updates also that I wanted to talk about is the new treasure glint feature. Basically, sunken or floating treasure is now going to glint, making it easier to spot, and that is really cool because especially when I was doing the cursed sail stuff, you have the ships die, you kill the ship, and then it drops the treasure in the water. And sometimes it's hard to find that treasure because obviously you're sailing around and you have to find the treasure. So it's very nice that the treasure actually glints now. So it makes it really easy to find treasure. And say you sunk for some reason and your treasure, just happened to float in the water, you can actually find that treasure a lot easier now. You can sail back to it and try to find that same treasure because it's going to glint in the water. So somebody else might get to it before you do, but I think it's really nice that they add that feature where it's going to show up in the water better.
Yeah, just a little note on that. Very nicely, the new mermaid statues, they also glint underwater, which helps a lot when finding them.
Yes, definitely.
But another nice little thing is thank God they've toned down the Devil's Roar a bit. The volcanoes don't go off as often now, which is nice because that was one of my initial complaints about it. Pretty much non-stop, there was eruptions, but that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, because you and I, we can't even sail, period. So sailing through volcanoes, that makes it even worse.
Indeed.
No, I definitely appreciate that too because the volcanoes did go off a lot, so it is nice that they go off a little bit less now. It makes it a little bit more interesting in the Devil's Roar to actually have that less, and I think it's actually going to increase PvP in the Devil's Roar probably because with less volcanoes going off, people might be more willing to fight there.
And it's very good that they seem to be listening to feedback and stuff on matches like that.
Absolutely. One other thing I'll touch on really fast. There's a lot more to this update we're not going to mention, but we're kind of mentioning the key points that were, important to us because I don't cover all the Sea of Thieves patch notes like I do with State of Decay, but one of the things that was really cool for me is the rowboat docking. I thought it was really cool that you can actually dock and detach the rowboat while you're sitting in the rowboat because previously you couldn't do that. You'd have to do it, while you're at the ship, and that was kind of annoying. So it's nice that you can do it while you're sitting in the rowboat now.
Yeah. And another little thing on the rowboat, you can push it when it's stuck now, which also means you can hold on to rowboats for longer, which is always good because everyone loves rowboats.
What I should have had to do then, I mean, when that Kraken was attacking us, I should have had you get out of the rowboat and push us.
It needs to be stuck. It needs to be stuck to push it.
We were stuck. A Kraken was after us. That's called stuck.
But I think that's pretty much all of the key things that's come in this update.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's obviously, bug fixes, performance improvements. There's other things like that, but like I said, I mean, State of Decay is more the game that I cover the full patch notes on. Sea of Thieves, I more cover like the DLC and the update about it and kind of my impressions of that. So that's why I'm not going to cover the full release notes, but if you want to find the release notes, I will put that in the show notes in case anyone wants to see that. But that being said, real quick again, I'll mention some of our news. My next stream is going to be either tonight, which is Wednesday, or it's going to be on Saturday night. Kind of depends, but I'm off those nights, so it'll be one of those nights. And on that stream, I'm probably going to be showcasing some of the Undead Trials challenges that we haven't revealed yet. And real quick again, Undead Trials is going to be December 9th to December 15th. Today, when you're hearing this, is the last day to register for it. And just to touch on that, Undead Trials is basically a community event that is put together by myself, Mr. Dart, and K Sizzle. And this event is a event in the base game of State of Decay. It's a competition-based event where we're taking as many people as want to sign up, and then we're whittling that down to one player. That one player is going to be the grand prize winner. You're going to get some cool stuff from Undead Labs, like a Bronto gas jacket, a signed poster. So definitely some very cool stuff. And these events are going to be happening around. So if you want to register for that, it's going to be bit.ly/UT2REG. So that's bit.ly/UT2REG. That's the link for that. I'll post that in the show notes as well. And other than that, that's pretty much all we have for today. But Monty, I really thank you for coming on, and it's nice to have you back again.
As always, thanks for having me.
Definitely, it's definitely fun to talk about our comedic journey we had, where we kind of couldn't pirate at all.
Yeah, I mean, it may not have been our best, but it was certainly one of the most entertaining.
Exactly. I kind of wish I was streaming it, but unfortunately I wasn't. But I think that would have entertained some people. People would have been laughing at us because we really did bad. But that's okay, though. I mean, as long as you have fun, I think that's what matters. And I think even the players that are really good at the game, they would tell you that too, because they have fun by being good. We have fun by just doing whatever comes to mind.
By being bad.
Exactly. But if people want to find you, Money, how can they find you?
Oh, they can find me on Twitter at MontyD14, I believe. I'm always liking the podcast posts and stuff, so you'll be able to find me there at least. You can find me on my Xbox account, DeEpicDuck, no capitals, spaces between each word. I think that's pretty much all of the ways you can contact me. Other than, of course, the Discord. I'm on the Discord. At me if you need me.
Yes, he's in the Discord as well. So yeah, definitely contact him on Discord as well, or contact me on Discord. We're both there. So my personal Discord will be in the show notes, and you can contact us there. But other than that, if you want to contact me, you can contact me on Twitter like Monty. You can contact me at Blaise XPerience. That's capital BLAISE, capital XPERIENCE. And my gamer tag is the same exact thing, just Blaise XPerience. You can contact me via email, theblaisexperience@gmail.com. And you can contact me in the YouTube comments, my YouTube channel if you want, or on the Discord, like I said. And to find the podcast, you can find it on YouTube now. We do have a Facebook group if you want to join that. The podcast will be posted there as well. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts or iTunes. You can find it on Google Podcasts, Stitcher. You can find it on Acast, Radio Public, Blueberry, Podbean, and many other directories. So basically all you have to do is type into Google the Blaise XPerience and you will find it somewhere, because pretty much that's the only thing that's going to come up when you type that in. So definitely type that in, just find us somewhere, and leave me some feedback. I'd love to hear from you, and I'm sure Monty would love to hear, how ridiculous our journey was too.
Of
But
course,
yeah. And I'd really appreciate iTunes reviews too. iTunes reviews basically help other people find the podcast. So if you do use iTunes, then please just leave us a review and let us know what you think. If you don't use iTunes, that's perfectly fine. I know there's a lot of people that don't, but anyone that does, I'd really appreciate iTunes review because that helps more people find the show. But that being said, that's pretty much all we have for today. I hope you enjoyed this fun little journey we had. We talked about the new Shrouded spoils here and our ridiculous journey, but we had fun, and that's all that matters, right, Monty?
Indeed.
But thank you once more, Monty, for coming on, and thank you to the listeners as well. And that's all we have for today, so thank you for listening to the Blaise XPerience.